can't hide my pain no more, this shit gon' make me lash out. I ain't playing games no more, I really might just black out. She can't feel her legs no more, I blew her fucking back out. Run up on me, bitch, on God, I blow your fucking back out. Where I'm from, this shit go down, a lot of niggas crash out. I just seen my cousin cut some work about the crack house. He ain't got nothing to lose, he might just bring the mask out. He gon' take your visa too, I hope your credit card don't max out. Watch me take some bricks of soap and turn it to a bankroll. Used to want get rich like Hov until I met Jeff Bezos. Billionaire advice, that's that shit that you can't pay for. Leveled up and made some pesos. Now your bitch wanna give me pesos.
Also making me relive the brutal death of Taika Waititi droid.
Pointing things out on the screen.
How can I atone?
According to Creed, one may only be redeemed in the living waters.
Oh, and by previously on The Mandalorian, I meant previously on The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. Yep, they buried the setup for Season 3 of Mando in Episode 5 of Season 1 of Boba Fett.
Look, I personally think it was a terrible idea to set up Season 3 of The Mandalorian in the Book of Boba Fett, but this is still Discount Jeremy complaining about the same thing he complained about in the first two sins, so I'm giving him this sin for being so repetitive and boring.
Thinking that replacing Ludwig Göransson's epic opening theme with audio from the episode will make me more likely to hang around for the Star Wars helmet orgy. Also, do not Google Star Wars helmet orgy. Or if you do, tell them TVSins sent you. They'll know why, and you'll get a discount.
Discount Jeremy makes a cringy orgy joke that isn't funny cliche.
Flaming, hammering, soldering. Excitement?
Not a whole lot, but still more than you'll find in any TVSins video.
You thought it, we all thought it! Which means the show probably knew exactly what it was doing by making this kid look like a young Din Djarin. Apparently Mando turning up to save the day can't be cool unless we don't see it coming.
So you're sinning the show for fooling you? Really just sounds like you're bitter about getting duped.
I swear on my name and the names of the ancestors.
Brainwashing children. The decent thing would be to wait until he's an adult and can at least decide for himself that he wants to join your prohibitively controlling religion. I mean cult. Or creed. No, I really meant religion.
Yes, that's true. However, it's still not a sin of the episode. I mean, religions exist in the real world and people indoctrinate children into them all the time, so it's perfectly realistic.
Also, does he get another helmet after his next growth spurt? Because at this age, this one will last him maybe 2, possibly 3 days. Besides, part of the creed should be having to suffer through wearing hand-me-downs that are 5 sizes too big to jetpack practice. Now, that's character building.
Also, presumably the Mandalorians have a bunch of kid-sized helmets stored away that they give to newly indoctrinated kids, and they get bigger ones as they grow until they've grown completely and get one of their own permanently. What's wrong with that? How is that a mistake of the episode?
From this moment on, I shall never remove my helmet.
Never? We've seen Mando take his helmet off in private to eat food and stuff, so what gives? Unless Din has inspired an offshoot of the creed which is even more restrictive.
Obviously, the implication is that they will never take their helmets off in the presence of other people. That part is simply left unsaid.
Holy sh! How quickly does this water go from barely knee-high to able to accommodate a giant fucking sea beast? And why didn't the armorer close off the beach weeks ago when Sheriff Brody warned her?
That fake-ass laugh at the beginning of the sin. Also, Discount Jeremy makes a Jaws reference that isn't a sin of the episode cliche. Also, do you think it's unrealistic for there to be an underwater drop-off? Really? Despite that being something that exists in the real world?
Also, why are we holding a religious ceremony at a body of water where ocean crocodiles randomly attack? Were there no other ponds or swimming pools available?
Maybe the Mandalorians just didn't know that these creatures lived here. After all, this is a makeshift ceremonial area.
Mandalorian?
Skip.
Okay, now the armorer is suddenly a dumbass too? I know she smoked some stormtroopers with her hammer and tongs back in season 1 and it was totally badass. But when this creature is showing you that bombs, flamethrowers, and lasers are ineffective, in what world is your next thought? Stop. Hammer time.
You cut out the part of the scene where she saves one of the Mandalorians who got knocked underwater. The only reason she ran into the water was to save him, and she only tried to use her hammer against the creature when she realized it had seen her and she didn't have enough time to get away from it.
If I visit the planet and I can bring you proof that I have bathed in the living waters beneath the mines of Mandalore.
How's it going to do that exactly? Take a living waters bathing selfie? I'm sure it's possible, but I'd also insist on seeing that in private for like 3 to 5 minutes for Sins research.
Discount Jeremy has a boner.
I know I'm supposed to be impressed with this callback to the finale of Rebels, but honestly I'm just annoyed I had to sit through 75 episodes of Rebels to get this reference.
Sinning a different show in this show? That's dumb.
Please state the purpose of your visit.
Here to meet an old friend.
If you accept a reason that vague, why even ask the question? This is literally the #1 response in the big book of what to say if you're here to do something shady. Especially weird considering he's here completely legitimately.
Have you ever been through real customs? They don't really care about how vague your answer is so long as it's not violent or against the law.
Nice to see the Slicotron droid make a return, but I don't really understand its benefit in this street market. Don't these kinds of markets have the produce ready to go? And even if you are chopping things up to order, it's hardly busy. Does he really need a droid to do it? I think you've passed peak droid when this is what you have them doing.
Bro, what? You asked why there's a droid cutting stuff when the guy could do it because it isn't busy. Ever heard of hiring employees? That's what this droid is, an employee. It makes the guy's job easier.
Marvelous black lava canyons or soak in the geothermal springs.
And this protocol droid is a walking advertisement? Look, I know a free market will do whatever it's going to do, but any walking box with a speaker could do this. Why use discount C-3PO?
You say that any walking and talking box could do this job, but send a walking and talking object for doing this job. Do you see how stupid that is? I mean, he's literally saying that the episode made a mistake because this is a protocol droid rather than a box. Like, why?
The Belters are mining the asteroid fields at the edge of the system.
Belters, you say. Mining, you say. Well, that sure feels like an expansive storytelling possibilities you could rip off. I mean, be inspired by.
I don't get this kind of complaint. The Expanse prominently features that stuff while this show just briefly mentioned it. And honestly, it makes sense that it would be happening in this society based on context. But apparently it's automatically a sin because it's something that exists in another show? How? Why? There's literally no reason for counting that as a sin. It's completely arbitrary.
Grogu spinning himself in the chair is the most adorable abuse of the Force that I've ever seen. But it's still an abuse.
Discount Jeremy sins something he likes, cliche.
You're still running around here with the same little critter.
Mando just told you his name was Grogu, so stop treating him like a pointy-eared gerbil. Remember when Grogu used Force healing to stop you from being poisoned in the Season 1 finale? Exactly, so f*** you, Grief.
Is he sinning a character for being themselves again? Yes. Yes, he is.
I completed my quest. He returned to me.
Oh, you actually wanted to see that crucial bit of development? Well, you guessed it. That was in the almighty Book of Boba Fett too.
Discount Jeremy sins an expanded universe for being an expanded universe.
Having an entire bowl of just the orange ones.
Skip.
Hi, Magistrate. Apologies. Your timing couldn't be any worse.
Really? You're basically catching up with a friend and this is the worst timing? Does Karga never drop a poodoo while on duty?
That fake-ass laugh. Also, the guy who sends poop jokes whenever they happen in shows just made a terrible poop joke himself. Hypocrisy, ladies and gentlemen.
Just that there's someone here to see you. It can wait. But it's pirates.
A group of pirates is threatening a school and C-3PO interrupts them as if Karga's mom is bringing him his lunch instead of, oh, I don't know, saying something like, there are pirates trying to get into the school.
Yeah, it's a robot. Its sense of urgency is obviously just not as urgent as a person's would be.
Decide, droid, don't you know who we are?
My first guess was that you're a de-aged pre-tentacle version of Davy Jones from Pirates of the Caribbean. I had my money on the X-Men being introduced before anything else, but I guess this was just as likely.
Discount Jeremy makes 2 pop culture references that aren't sins of the episode cliche.
Varro will become the first truly independent trade anchor in this entire sector.
A free trade system wanting to remain independent instead of allowing itself to be ruled by a government from Coruscant, you say. I feel like I watched 133 episodes from a series about this very conflict. What was it called? Bone stores, zone horns, cone tours.
Okay, so apparently making a reference to the Clone Wars is automatically a sin. Somehow, without any justification whatsoever.
I need him back.
We were lucky to recover any of his parts after he self-destructed.
Right? I mean, let's replay that explosion. And we're expected to believe that anything was left intact, let alone his entire torso, head, and a whole arm? Why was the entire explosion channeled to his legs? Also, the whole point of that explosion is...
Manufacturer's protocol dictates I cannot be captured.
And this looks pretty f***ing captured to me.
These 2 sins were actually valid, so remove a sin I shall.
Also, it is deceptively dark that the people of Navarro chose to make the hero's memorial out of his salvaged corpse instead of, you know, investing in an actual statue.
Okay, and that's sinful because... Oh, it's not? Then why did you sin it? Besides, it's a robot, my guy, not a living being.
Fortunately, the helpful lights on IG-11's head give Mando just enough warning to get Grogu out of a potentially deadly situation that he shouldn't have been in to begin with.
Discount Jeremy points things out on the screen, cliche.
In the pilot episode, it took one shot to drop IG-11. Here, Mando hits him like 5 or 6 times with that same blaster, and he just keeps coming. Did the Season 3 writers not watch Season 1?
In the first episode, Mando hit IG-11 in the head, but he's hitting his body in this scene. You should really be asking yourself if you watched Season 1.
No, you!
Have IG back to his old self in no time.
IG goes from definitely only useful as a paperweight to definitely going to be able to help you on a dangerous mission to Mandalore so quickly that I have to wonder why we even bothered to blow him up in the first place.
I actually haven't seen the rest of Season 1 yet. As of writing this video, I've only seen the first 2 episodes, so I don't know how IG-11 plays into the future episodes of the season. But as for helping Mando on Mandalore, IG-11 doesn't have any part of that. He gets an astromech droid instead, so that contradicts your point about IG-11 suddenly becoming important for the exploration of Mandalore.
What if I find you the part?
Okay, now then, no problem. We take.
You guys, that's very different from
Mando, he said he can't fix it.
I can't fix it is not I can fix it if you get me the part. Galaxy far, far away, and yet mechanics are still gonna mechanic.
He admits that this is in line with something a mechanic would do, still sends it.
Bad baby.
Damn it, Favreau.
That fake-ass laugh.
Fast, Mandalorian.
I was going to send the Avast thing, but then I realized we've had an entire episode about pirates without a single cameo from Hondo Anaka. And I can't help but feel like if you're going to bring back Cad Bane, you got to bring in Hondo, or else this venture is no longer profitable.
I do love me some Hondo, but you would have sinned it if they had brought him back here, so I can't let you get away with that.
The internet, or at least the noisy part of it, seems to have a problem with the aesthetic of Gorian Shard here. Personally, I've always loved Fraggle Rock and would prefer this to CGI any day. Yes, internet, this sin is for you being too picky.
Sinning the show for something the internet did? That's dumb.
Wave that thing around, and they'll do whatever you say.
Also, so he should lead just because he won the Darksaber in a duel? Seems like dumb politics to me. Almost as bad as relying on strange women lying in ponds distributing swords as a system of government.
Discount Jeremy pretends he's never heard of religion.
Go home.
Do we really bring back Bo-Katan just to mope around in a castle and be mad at Mando? Because if so, I'd have rather had another few minutes of Grogu spinning himself in that chair.
She's mopey and pissy now, but next episode we get a fight scene with her. The point is that this is only the first episode of the season. Try to exercise a little patience for the story to build, my guy. Stop acting like a Gen Z bitch.
They're beneath the Civic Center in the city of Sundari.
The Civic Center? Mandalore had civic centers?
Yes.
I wanna be great, I wanted to change and all the above. You want me to fall, you want me to crawl, you want me to stall, they want me to drugs, you want me to fail, they want me to jail, they want my soul, they want my blood. I'm out for revenge, I'm out for the ends, I'm out for respect, I'm out for the ground, I'm out for the rain. They started to aim, I hopped in the plane, I'm not going down, I'm dodging the flames. They calling my name, I wanna be saved, but I don't know how. I thought it was safe, but I got a plan. Let's load up the chopper and ride it around. I pull up on them while you sleep. You gon' see, it's a fucking murder spree. You gon' see, won't nobody say a peep. You gon' see, don't you turn your back on me. You gon' see.
Then by greed, I would be redeemed.
Using your previously ing on and on to insinuate that the band Creed could redeem anyone.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture reference that isn't a sin of the episode cliche.
Also, why does the armorer get their shoulder fluff in the shot? No one else gets shoulder fluff!
Because she's the only one with shoulder fluff?
Also, you can clearly hear a large crowd cheering in the background, so where are they? Is that noise piped in from somewhere? What is this, the NFL?
You can clearly see a bunch of people in this very shot, but in the Phantom Menace we see stands with a massive crowd, so that's presumably where the brunt of the noise is coming from. We just can't see it. In other words, the audio is overlaid on a disconnected image. Does Discount Jeremy not understand that that's a possibility?
Consecutive alsos. Is this a desert town? Wait, is that Mos Eisley? Oh, no.
Skip?
We never heard a price exchanged between these two.
We did hear them talking though. The guy just wasn't speaking English.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
If all the droid was going to do to alert the Jawas was whistle, why didn't you just do that yourself?
Maybe she can't whistle. Or maybe she's just lazy. Or maybe it doesn't matter.
Quickly, before he sees you!
You say this literally 6 seconds after saying,
Tell the Jawas Rodian left.
Tell them he's gone. Tell them he could see them. That's just terrible workplace communication.
She literally just said to hurry up before he sees them after he leaves. How is that bad communication? She's right that he's gone, and she's right to want them to move quickly.
Put those cards back on the speeder. Paint them so they look different.
This is a simple enough scam, so why do you even need the Jawas as the middlemen? Or middle Jawas? And isn't selling people their own back a Jawa trademark at this point? Both parties are splitting a job either one of them could do themselves just so the audience can get their Jawa fixed before Mando shows up.
The Jawas have tons of their own parts and mechanical expertise, so she's partnering with them because it's a symbiotic relationship.
Who taught you how to leap like a lurman, huh?
It's a good thing Grogu spent 2 years training with Luke so he could learn how to jump and do a flip.
Yeah, he learned some basic training as a small child. How is that a sin? I mean, we don't know what other things he learned yet, so your implication that the training was pointless is dumb because Grogu simply hasn't had the chance to do anything else yet.
Was that his first word?
Thanks a lot, Pelly. Now I'm aware that they're eventually going to ruin Grogu by making him talk. Preemptive sin this is.
So children learning how to talk ruins them? Can somebody call child services on this man? Get his children somewhere safe?
Right back here, scaredy droid.
Not understanding the strengths and weaknesses of your workforce, Pelly needs some management training, like, immediately.
Jesus Christ, dude. What is the point of this sin? Was it supposed to be funny? Was it supposed to be a legitimate critique? Either way, it flopped.
And because it's Bunta, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you this for half the price and throw in a free oil bath.
Offering Mando a free oil bath without inviting us to... Wait, she was talking about the droid, wasn't she?
Discount Jeremy has a boner.
How does Pelly know what the Force is? She's not a Jedi or part of the rebellion. This show went to such great lengths to show the Jedi were somehow forgotten after the Purge. Mando even called them sorcerers, remember? So which is it? Do people remember the Jedi or not?
Pelly works in a hangar where ships from all over the galaxy come and go. Based on that, it makes sense that she would have heard things about the Jedi, or at the very least, the Force. She probably meets a ton of people who have seen a lot of things in her line of work.
It's Mandalore, the homeworld of our people. Every Mandalorian can trace their roots back to this planet.
Apparently, Grogu is quickly just becoming a landing vessel for Din to tell us all the Mandalore. Maybe instead of Baby Yoda, we should have called him an expositional sponge Yoda. Trips right off the tongue, huh?
Dude, what do you want? Mando needs to teach Grogu about all this stuff because he's a child. You're literally complaining that someone is raising a child. It's a perfectly natural way for the audience to get some exposition as well.
I've never been there either.
Then, how do you know it used to be...
Once green and beautiful.
Because he was told about it?
And that's Kalevala, where we visited Bo-Katan.
I'm only telling you this in case there's some sort of rare emergency where I'm incapacitated and you need to run to her for help. No other reason.
Again, he's raising and teaching a child. You're acting like that's a mistake of the show, but how is it bad?
Mandalorian has to understand maps and know their way around.
Pretending that using graphic instructions on how to get from point A to point B is a unique skill set.
Pointing things out on the screen.
Go over to that split in the rock and take an air sample of the ruins below.
Wait, would the air below the rocks not be the same as the air above if the droid can just pop down in there?
Not necessarily. There could be factors like radiation that are more heavily concentrated below the surface but don't affect the surface.
Don't be a baby.
What a weird insult for a droid. Droids, like much technology, are likely at their highest level of operation and strength when they're first created. I know you hate droids, Mando, but the cultural insensitivity is just off the charts.
Jesus Christ, I think this was meant to be funny, but it was just really stupid.
I was hoping to avoid going out there.
But you'd have to go out there eventually, right? You can't bathe in the living waters from your cockpit, Mando.
He obviously meant that he wanted to avoid going out before receiving the air sample data. Pay attention.
Being blessed with great equipment, but not knowing how to use it.
Being blessed with a popular YouTube channel, but not knowing how to use it.
Charts were wrong.
What charts? So far, this is the only chart I've been shown. And if I'm being really honest, discussions on charts are about one notch above discussions about fuel levels.
The charts Mando has been referencing about Mandalore's habitability. If you would pay attention, you would understand this.
Taking your tiny companion into a dangerous unknown planet dressed as half of an avocado.
Pointing things out on the screen.
Wait. I know Disney owns pretty much everything, but does that include the rights to Metal Gear?
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture reference that isn't a sin of the episode cliche.
Also, you're telling me that whole mech suit was underneath the sand, upside down, waiting to pounce? How long would it take to set that up? And how could it possibly be worth it in this environment?
We don't know how long it would take, and that also just doesn't matter. As for it being worth it, we're shown that the population of Mandalore is essentially just wild animals and undeveloped species, so the mech thingy presumably just waits to capture any critters or anything else that wander too close, which presumably happens often enough to make it worth it.
Man, bet you wish you had Yoda's lightsaber right about now, huh? How's that little Beskar vest treating you?
Discount Jeremy yells at the screen cliche.
Well, I guess if they could bring back Maul several times, then General Grievous was always within the realm of possibility. His new suit sure is a downgrade, though. Now he's gonna be windmilling lightsabers in that thing.
Unfunny joke is unfunny.
You're just a tiny blob of biological material around a single eyeball. How did you make all this stuff in the first place? Where did you get the pieces? Did you pickle Ricket and magically build an operational exoskeleton by tonguing a Mandalorian cockroach brain?
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture reference that isn't a sin of the episode cliche. Also, simply asking a bunch of questions does not count as a sin. These questions probably have answers, but we just don't know them. That doesn't mean the episode made a mistake. These things just aren't important to the story.
Get to Bo-Katan.
And this instruction should be enough for you thanks to the convenient map teaching I did on the way here. And don't forget you'll have to fly all the way there because of that damn meteoroplodical that's already in place.
Yeah? Why is that a sin, though? Are you gonna bother explaining? No? Okay.
An unscheduled visitor.
Pronouncing SCH as sh. Did you not pay attention in shul? Or are you too busy sheeming schematics to steal a scholarship?
Discount Jeremy has never heard of accents.
Maybe I didn't make myself clear the last time. I want to be left alone.
You actually didn't make that clear last time. At no point did you tell Mando and Grogu to leave you alone so you could listen to whatever the Mandalorian version of My Chemical Romance is and sulk like a teenager who ran out of their favorite eyeliner.
Right. And that's why she said that maybe she didn't make it clear last time. Why are you sitting something that she literally said herself? Also, yet another pop culture reference.
Looking down on the apocalyptic remains of the city. Really is impressive how this episode is just The Last of Us Episode 8.
Please refer to the previous sin. The next 3 sins in a row are all just Discount Jeremy pointing things out on the screen.
Pushing your vulnerable companion into a dark corner you haven't explored because you spotted something dangerous in the other direction. As if danger can't simultaneously be located in multiple places.
Jesus Christ, dude. She sees something dangerous and therefore pushes him away from it. Sure, she doesn't know if that area is also dangerous, but she's simply using the information currently available to her. That's called being rational.
Did you think your dad was the only Mandalorian?
No, Grogu met Boba Fett.
Skip.
Also, cut the man some slack. He didn't live through the 90s when those were briefly a thing. And even I didn't know you could make soup out of them.
Thank you.
Don't thank me until you see them.
Trying to control someone else's thankfulness.
Pointing things out on the screen.
I want you to get the full tour.
People who read the expositional signs instead of just enjoying the thing that the sign is about. The Grand Canyon's right there, Zeke. Not currently interested in the story of Gary the Gorge Donkey and his 3-month journey.
Boring!
I swear on my name.
I teased in for keeping up this silly religious creed stuff, but at least he doesn't use his faith as an excuse to be a dick to people different than him, so here's a sin for those that do.
Did he just sin something that he literally just admitted has nothing to do with the show? Yes. Yes, he did.
What do you call a Mandalorian that has to be rescued twice in one episode?
Skip.
Obey every command I give you without question.
Yeah, look, I don't go to sleep, I put in work. Yeah, came up from the bottom, from the dirt. Hey, never out in second, I'm in first. Yeah, diamonds on my head like Uzi Vert. Yeah, you not from the city, you would twerk. I hop up on this bitch and go berserk. Walk up in the spot, they on alert. You say you want the smoke, I brought the perk. Look, I just woke up and I'm ready. I just woke up and I get it. They wanna talk all that shit to the chopper, turn their ass right into spaghetti. Vision ain't lame and it's heavy. I'm going up and it's steady. I don't hold a grudge, I ain't petty, yeah.
I swear on my name and the names of the ancestors.
The previous Leon feels the need to remind me of Mando falling into an underwater hole and Bo-Katan doing a belly flop. I kind of feel like all the courage and skill I'd given them credit for is actually just a proprietary blend of Beskar steel and plot armor.
He starts out this sin seeming like he's complaining about the previous Leon segment, but then randomly switches to complaining about Beskar and plot armor. I'm not even necessarily saying I would disagree with either sin, but at least make up your mind.
Understanding this armor is very tricky. Sometimes it does it all, and other times it does nothing and lets water in to almost drown you.
Yeah, it's not meant to be used underwater. It's not that hard to understand. I mean, Discount Jeremy provides 0 other examples of when Beskar has been confusing, so I can't just blindly accept this assertion.
Bathed in the living waters.
Cool! cool, he did the thing. But I'd really love to know why they're called the Living Waters and what makes them so special. Good thing we have this whole episode to really dive into the neat lore.
See, this sin is really weird because if we did spend this episode diving into the lore behind the Living Waters, you complain about it being boring and skip a bunch of it. But when the show spares us from all that unnecessary exposition, you sin it anyway.
Something?
You just did, right there. That was your question. I swear that joke was funnier when my third grade math teacher used it. Or maybe that just contributed to my paranoid nature, always expecting gotchas from everyone I meet.
I'd invite you in for a feast, but I'm guessing that helmet isn't coming off again.
And I just realized how limited Mandalorians are during sexy time. Now it just seems like a depressing cult, especially for the Mandalesbians.
Discount Jeremy makes a cringy sexual joke that isn't funny cliche.
Guns off a lot of Imperial warlords.
That sounds just vague enough to cover the writers for not wanting to show or explain the origin of this surprise attack.
Right, because this show is called The Mandalorian in reference to Din, not Bo-Katan's crazy adventures.
Are you still up for the transfer?
I don't see any other choice.
The episode confirms that these helmets do in fact obscure your vision.
Not a scratch.
Nobody likes a bragger, Mando. I bet you're a real hoot to play Halo with.
Discount Jeremy makes a Halo reference that isn't a sin of the episode cliche.
Mudscuffers bombed my home.
This is a big character moment for Bo-Katan, who's now lost 2 homes to bombings by the Empire. And it's all ruined by the word mudscuffers. This is catastrophic for such a war-weary fighter, losing the last shred of home she had left. She's not Leia getting angry at Han and Chewie for comedic effect.
I actually 100% agree with you here. Her using that silly-ass word in a situation that should have been emotionally devastating for her character was really stupid.
Also, simply adding another syllable would have gotten you closer to the target, mutterscuffers.
Discount Jeremy double dips cliche.
That's a lot of ships for an Imperial warlord.
I agree. You should show us where they all came from so we can get a better idea of what you're all up against and why.
I haven't seen the entirety of this season yet, but I'm willing to give the show the benefit of the doubt and hope that they do explain this eventually. Discount Jeremy is complaining that the show isn't immediately answering every single question he has, which is dumb because it's a show. It's supposed to explain things over time, not all at once in a massive exposition dump.
Sending jump coordinates.
Wait, jumping away was an option the entire time? Way to render the freaking cool dogfight scenes completely pointless. If they had jumped away before leading the TIE interceptors back to Kalevala, Bo might still have that big uncomfortable looking chair.
No. They destroyed that first set of TIE fighters because they didn't know there were so many more. It was the second wave that bombed her home. Din and Bo were just trying to defend the castle by engaging in that dogfight. They're clear to make the jump now because there's nothing left to defend.
Welcome to Coruscant, the planet of over 1 billion phallic-looking buildings.
Discount Jeremy says, well, phallic, which isn't technically the same as boner, but is still worth 10 sins, damn it.
This is so cool. There's so many possibilities here. Is Grogu gonna get to explore the ruins of the Jedi Temple? Wait, where are Mando and Bo-Katan?
Okay, so this is a pretty common criticism of this show, that The Mandalorian doesn't spend a lot of its time with The Mandalorian. Regardless of whether or not you enjoy these other plot lines, he's already complained about this, so this is Discount Jeremy double dipping.
My work explored was the hopes of combining multiple strands to create replicas that incorporated the best genetic attributes of both donors.
What is the thesis of this TED Talk? At first it sounded like it had something to do with the amnesty program.
The amnesty program saved my life.
But now he's talking about his research. Oh wait, it's about exposition, isn't it?
It could just be him explaining what he did for the Empire and how he would like to contribute to the New Republic.
So anything would be comfortable compared to the Outer Rim.
That's Outer Rimist. I've heard exploring the Outer Rim can be nice if you're willing to give it a chance, Pershing.
Discount Jeremy makes a cringy sexual joke that isn't funny cliche.
Empire, Rebels, New Republic, I can't keep track.
So say we all. Wait, is this not Battlestar?
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture reference that isn't a sin of the episode cliche.
Did this franchise finally show me how people don't fall out of these things like all the time, or why no one's hair looks windswept when they get to their destination?
Agree with the windswept hair part, not with the falling out. What are you, 5 years old? You can't sit still enough to not fall out of a speeder? Have a good evening.
So when Mando said someplace they won't find us, he wasn't referring to the Empire, but the rest of the episode itself? Are Mando and Grogu coming back anytime soon? This is like Lane and Jerry bailing on dinner with Peterman and leaving George stuck in the meal. The writers made...
Uniforms did fit better. I do miss the lights of hyperspace.
Episode reminisces about the good old days for all of the sometime.
Discount Jeremy points things out on the screen for only a little bit of the sometime, but it's still a sin.
Because of this, Coruscant is one of only a handful of city planets, known as an ecumenopolis.
Trying to sneak this world-building exposition into the episode like we'd want to know more about the universe.
Discount Jeremy complains about exposition for no reason cliche.
I'll give this sci-fi door points for not being a whoosh, but a zhong is still super annoying. Imagine the cacophony that must engulf this apartment block every morning during rush hour.
Everything wrong with the Mandalorian, ladies and gentlemen. An electric door made a noise.
The asshole who still has their job after programming this droid to just haphazardly run into people.
The pointless bullshit Discount Jeremy inexplicably feels the need to talk about.
So why not continue your research here?
I don't think it's something the New Republic would be interested in.
If they're not interested, then why did they have you talking about it in front of 50 million people earlier? They had graphics queued up and everything.
Like I said, it was most likely because he was talking about his past experience with the Empire to provide context about his current position in the amnesty program. It's not that complicated.
Live a little, Doc. It's not the Empire.
No, but there are still rules, right? If I go to the Field Museum in Chicago...
Skip.
I think feeling the tragedy wrapped in this utopia is going to squeeze another sin removal out of me. But also, squeezing anything out of me is a sin.
Discount Jeremy makes what I can only assume was a cringy sexual joke that isn't funny cliche.
Elia did say the New Republic needed help, but I don't think fair evasion was so complex that the scientists of Coruscant were still working the problem.
Throwaway Sin, whose sole purpose is to pad the sin count and runtime of the video.
Pershing is staring at people like this is the first time he's ridden the New York City subway. Did he see no other species on the Outer Rim?
Pershing was an Imperial scientist. He's almost definitely seen other species, but most likely not this one. Remember, the Empire was super biased and discriminatory against non-humans, so it would make sense for Pershing's experience with other species to be limited.
Thongs days, am I right?
The writers make this saying a universal constant, and I hate them for it.
Everything wrong with the convert, ladies and gentlemen. A different galaxy than ours has different days of the week than us.
Do it.
Why are they being allowed to do it? Show wants me to believe that a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, they had their own Mondays, am I right? But they didn't have an OSHA, an FAA, or whomever's responsibility it would be to prevent people from falling to their death off this thing.
Man, it's really easy to come up with sins when you can just cut out all context from the show. They're not allowed to do this. In fact, they end up getting chased by the security droid because he sees them doing this.
Into a salvage yard on Coruscant to steal something from a decommissioned Imperial ship. What you're actually stealing is from this season of Bad Batch.
Discount Jeremy claims that something is a ripoff of something else just because there's one small similarity ex machina.
We've spent most of the past 10 minutes watching these two walking and talking in public transportation.
Skip.
What? You mean she was going to betray him all along? This changes everything. How will the Star Wars universe go forward from...
It really seems like the TVSins writers draw straws to determine which storylines they're going to call boring. It's completely random, because 90% of the things they call boring aren't actually boring.
You'll see some pleasant colors, hear a light buzzing, and experience a great sense of relief in no time at all.
If that's your goal, why not just get him some weed? You've basically just described every afternoon right before I record this narration. I mean, when I get done recording this narration.
Oh my god, this would have been a genuinely funny joke if he had stopped after the first line. Seriously, just saying the thing about getting him some kush would have actually been pretty funny. But you just had to ruin it by extending the joke. Jesus Christ, the fact that he had a golden opportunity and completely fumbled it deserves 10 sins.
He brought me there. It was a trap.
Okay, they did do a good job with this one.
I'm bringing you to a Mandalorian covert.
Oh, they finally remembered who the main character was. This was a very strange episode of The Mandalorian.
Discount Jeremy double dips cliche.
It will go smoother if you keep your helmet on. Trust me.
The entirety of my father's Birds and the Bees talk somehow makes it into the episode.
Discount Jeremy makes a cringy sexual joke that isn't funny cliche.
Oh boy, I'm glad we're back to the main story so we can now watch Mandalorians do some walking. Well, everyone has to walk sometimes. Can't all be rocket packs, space battles, and blaster fights. It's an important and necessary... Oh, for the love of Grogu, come on, guys! This episode had so many cool things in it. It could have been a contender. It could have been somebody instead of a bum, which is what it is, let's face it.
Discount Jeremy really hates important character moments. The reason there's so much walking and slow build-up here is because it's a very meaningful moment for Din. He's been all about redemption for a while now, so this makes total sense if you've been paying attention. Oh, wait.
Are indeed the living waters.
All that walking just to watch the armorer test the pH balance of some water.
Jesus Christ, what did I just say?
State of Florida has asked us to disclose our sexual crimes to you. We were bad, but now we're good. We're moving into your neighborhood. You know we're trying our best to be functioning members of society.
I hit the top and then I freeze. They won't look me in the eye, see them shaking at the knees. They throw caution to the wind, I point a pistol at the breeze. Giving game away, don't make a little bread, you referees. Yeah, look, I'm crossing on my T's. Y'all got paper, I got rounds and magazines. They say, man, stop talking guns, I tell them, shut up, pussy bleed. Need to know that if they come for me, they never gonna leave. Get some comfort in these moments when I finally get to breathe. They been coming for my energy, they move like a disease. Ship his ass right underwater, cause he ain't no submarine. I know a guy behind the arc and he don't miss with shooting threes. And it's me, yeah.
Thinking you could show me anything that hasn't happened previously. Oh, you meant previously on The Mandalorian? Then say so.
Is he really complaining that this title card didn't specify the show? You're really that desperate to find anything to sin in order to stretch out the runtime of the video? Come on, man.
Holding your Mando Olympics on the recently renamed Giant-Ass Crocozilla Beach.
Making an unfunny joke on your YouTube channel that used to be entertaining.
Also, are those guys on the left just shooting at the water? What kind of training is that?
You can see in this shot that they're aiming at something somewhere above the water, so presumably they've picked targets somewhere further out in the water or maybe even across it.
Easy now, this is just sparring, and you're using flamethrowers? What would happen if the other guy didn't use his at the same time? Your buddy would be dead. This is most certainly not the way. Did you transfer in from Cobra Kai before the reboot?
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture reference that isn't a sin of the episode cliche. Also, what do you mean they would be dead? Do you not see the armor they're wearing? The fact that they're doing this during their training session suggests that this armor has some level of fire resistance.
Stop teasing a show. We all thought Grogu was force training with these rocks, and then it turned out to only be crustaceans. If I've said it once, I've said it a million times. Be careful when thinking about getting your rocks off, because sometimes you end up with surprise crabs.
Discount Jeremy makes a cringy sexual joke that isn't funny cliche.
Put down the rocks, kid.
Interrupting Grogu's lunch break.
Pointing things out on the screen.
He is too small.
I am his ward. Proceed.
Does Din being his ward make Grogu any bigger? What the hell does that non sequitur of a response have to do with anything?
Jesus Christ, dude. Obviously Mando was saying that since he has custody of Grogu, he can make this decision. Think, Aaron, think.
Training darts.
And we just so happen to have one that won't fall off Grogu's tiny little wrists, because that's absolutely something we would use our limited resources for. This is the way.
I mean, yeah? Is it really a sin for the Mandalorians to have made training darts for children? Really? Do you not think the Mandalorians train their children? Or at least don't train them in certain forms of combat? What the hell?
Each has 3 darts. You may fire the darts in any order.
What does that mean? Like you can fire the third one first if you want to? Who cares? They're all right there on the same wrist and do exactly the same thing. And considering we find out in a bit that you fire by squeezing your fist, how would you select one dart over another anyway? Why would this moron kid stop at one dart instead of just firing all 3? I mean, other than the fact that every single match in the history of film has to pretend like we think our hero might lose.
Yeah, he's actually right about this. Take us in back, damn it.
Look at me, look at him.
Signing your kid up for paintball without explicit consent.
Pointing things out on the screen.
Ready. Begin. Point.
Didn't you just say...
1 round.
So why do these feel like multiple rounds? And why does the kid continue to only shoot once? And what even constitutes a catch? Does he have to make a common movement after securing the ball? And what about the ground? Sorry, I blacked out there for a second. My point is, this match is bullshit.
Discount Jeremy double dips cliche.
Not having any scouts looking out for danger on what will soon be renamed
Skip.
I'm out of fuel.
Oop, you've done it now. That's the Star Wars has another fuel-related plot alarm. We had to install it after The Last Jedi and Solo. It's automatic TVSins. Sorry, my hands are tied. No, literally. Jeremy tied my hands, stuck me in the...
It always gets away.
This has happened before? How incompetent are you as a community that you have children stolen from you by a creature and your only response is to once again see if the fuel will hold out this time?
Agreed. A group of Mandalorians should not be this incompetent.
It would kill the child.
If they're still alive, you mean? Why is everyone acting like the kid that got claw yoinked hours ago by Mr. Fly McTeethy Beak would even still be in one piece?
Bo-Katan's reconnaissance revealed that the creature had brought the kid to its nest to feed its babies, so they know the kid will survive for a while, at least until the babies need to get fed.
You are too young to join them.
So please, stay back here with me on what has proven to be a very safe location.
I mean, it's not safe, but it is safer than hunting down a juiced-up pterodactyl.
Just as we shape the Mandalorian steel, we shape ourselves.
Mandalorian steel? You mean Beskar? Why not just say Beskar?
And if she had said Beskar, you could make the argument that she should have said Mandalorian steel. See why this sin is dumb?
We all begin as raw ore.
Giving the birds and the bees talk, but using a very inaccurate euphemism for seminal fluid that might confuse Grogu.
Discount Jeremy makes a cringy sexual joke that isn't funny cliche.
Oh, look, another flashback to Order 66. It's only been shown in Episode 3, Clone Wars, Rebels Bad Batch, previous Mandalorian episodes, and Jedi Fallen Order. But I get one more look at the Jedi slaughter just in case we missed something. Do you want Order 66 to become the Batman pearls of the Star Wars universe? Do you?
That's a terrible analogy. Batman's parents getting murdered is a scene that's gotten remade a bunch of times, whereas Order 66 hasn't been remade, only expanded upon. We've never seen this specific part of the Jedi Purge before this show. Seriously, point me to the scene in Revenge of the Sith where we see Grogu escaping the temple. You can't do it, can you?
Don't worry. We're gonna meet up with some friends of mine.
And I'm telling you this now without any other details, so the fans will speculate and we might get a social media bump from it.
So you wanted him to launch into a TED Talk about who his friends are and why they're important? While getting chased by the clone army? Really?
You will grow into this rondel as you grow into your station, Foundling Grogu.
Are you sure about that? Yoda and Yaddle didn't seem much bigger than Grogu. He might not grow as much as you expect.
But he'll still grow. Yoda and Yaddle are both significantly bigger than Grogu, even though they're smaller than the average human.
Any closer and it will hear the ship.
How do you know its exact hearing range? Are you an expert on all winged life? Tell me, Bo-Katan, what is the average airspeed velocity of a laden swallow?
Maybe she just estimated a safe distance and added a few miles just in case. That would be the smart move if you don't have an exact number at hand.
Stealing a shot for your Fellowship of 7 from the much better Fellowship of 9.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture reference that isn't a sin of the episode cliche.
How do you eat when other people are around?
How are you just now asking this? Is this the first time you've been hungry when people were nearby?
I mean, yeah. They haven't been here for that long, and she probably just ate by herself before now.
Can we pretend the kid they're saving is related to Han so I can make a free Solo joke?
Discount Jeremy makes a documentary reference that isn't a sin of the episode cliche. What the f***?
Well, I see somebody rated the old costumes from the Dinosaur sitcom. How long had those been in storage, since 1994?
Yet another pop culture reference.
Excuse me, waiter.
Skip.
I'm Grogu.
I don't think he needed to be told. His dad just got back from the war. Of course he's going to see him. There are whole YouTube channels dedicated to this kind of shit.
What's your point, Vanessa?
We have brought you 3 more foundlings in need of care and training. Is that so?
That fake-ass laugh.
All I want for my birthday is a scene showing the moment one of these idiots was like, hey, why don't we bring those 3 giant baby human eaters back with us in the ship? And then the others were like, heck yeah, Frank, what a baller idea. Certainly we've got everything we need with us to make this happen. And it makes so much sense in every way. Long live the genius mind of the Frank.
Can replace what's missing, but not with its modern refinements.
What modern refinements? It was a regular shoulder pad. It's not like I had a mini Darksaber built into it.
She probably meant something along the lines of a modern style, but it doesn't matter to the story, so I don't know why you're sitting it in the first place.
Careful with the sparks there, Armorer. There's not enough time left to accidentally trigger another expositional flashback.
And why is that a bad thing? I love how he just acts like flashbacks are bad, but never explains why. If you don't provide any evidence or logic, how can I agree with you?
But it was real.
She's not discounting what you saw, Bo-Katan, but you're not exactly providing any proof either. This would be like someone telling me they saw Nessie. Cool story, bro, but until you provide some footage that isn't a blurry photograph of murky water, the best you're going to get from me is a vague congratulations, a vacant smiling nod, and a quick look for anyone else in the room I can go talk to.
She doesn't have any proof, though. She saw it very briefly while she was saving Mando's life. She wasn't doing a photo shoot with the damn thing.
Hey, this is the Dino Nugget song. I said Dino Nugget song. I love Dino Nuggets.
I get bored on skating, keep it jumping like an acid drop. Moving for they hate it, bitch, I pull it up and pass a shot. Keep it dedicated, know they fake it and they lie a lot. I just hit the switch, create the space on like an astronaut. Blessings coming, I said blessings coming, going, y'all got next to nothing. And I run it up the show and I'm the fastest running. And I might keep it going, cause I fell in love with all this traction that I'm growing, and it's real to me. It's a message, yeah, I'm rising through the fall, I'm about to learn a lesson. That I'm the fucking answer, don't deserve a question. Missing on tequila with the worst stresses. Showing my true colors for the first impression. Yeah, lighting on my problems by the burning dead on.
On The Mandalorian. Previously on The Mandalorian. We talked about this last episode. Here, let me help. There we go.
Pointless nitpicking is pointless.
Let's move the trade district closer to the shipping terminals.
That's a wonderful idea, High Magistrate.
Ah, yes. This is what we've come here for. The riveting dialogue needed to redraw district lines. Let me pull out my corporate coffee cup and slide into my office chair to really get in the mood.
He's complaining about a conversation that lasts for about 10 seconds of screen time before the main conflict is revealed. You see why that's dumb? This conversation was just a way to establish the setting and kickstart the scene.
Gasp! The pirates are back? Thank goodness I was prepared by the previous Leons. However, would I have been able to handle the shock of this sudden and unexpected development?
Discount Jeremy double dips cliche.
Get the citizens to safety.
The fucking butler droid? I know Karga is short a lawman, but seriously, Navarro has some sort of security or standing militia, right? How is the evacuation of the city being left to the droid that, last time we saw them, couldn't get his boss's title right?
As we see later in this episode, Navarro does not have a standing militia. The droid is pretty much the only thing Karga's got to warn the citizens.
Also, imagine being so misguidedly vain that you commission a bust of yourself before hiring a personal security force.
So, characterization is a bad thing? Really?
Why is this holo transmission thing set to like 100 times magnification? Does the incoming caller get to choose how intimidating they look based on the intent of the call?
I mean, they might get to choose their size, or maybe it has something to do with the receiver or something. But either way, simply asking a question does not immediately necessitate a sin.
Is that what you call gunning down my helmsman in cold blood? He shot first.
Okay, Karga clearly shot first, and given Star Wars history with this sort of thing, I don't know if we're being deliberately trolled or not. The problem is, I'd either send it and get mocked for missing a joke, or ignore it and get blasted for missing a valid point. Regardless, I look forward to 20 years from now when that first episode is re-edited to show that Vane shot first, meaning that whatever I do, I'll end up being wrong for at least part of history.
Now I will shoot first.
No! That's still not right!
Skip.
My charts indicate that Navarro is an independent world.
Is this show attempting to make me believe that a central problem is whether or not Navarro is independent? How do you expect me to care about that when this entire universe can't solve choppy holograms? This may be the worst I've ever seen. Look at it glitching.
Wait, is this sin about the independence of Navarro thing, or the glitchiness of the hologram? There are tons of sins like this where he'll start talking about one thing just so that he can use it as a transition to another thing, and it's dumb because it makes it unclear which thing he's sinning, and regardless, the sin wouldn't be valid either way in this instance.
Obi-Wan, you're my only hoping a droid to get out of trouble cliche.
That's not a cliche.
Okay, being bombed by pirates is less than ideal, but look on the bright side. At least now people will visit the statue and simply assume that it was damaged in an attack, and you don't have to explain how part of it was brought back to life and tried to kill a child.
Boring!
Send out a directive immediately!
Considering this droid's track record with delivering news, send out a directive immediately feels uncomfortably vague. I bet there are 1,000 possible directives to choose from, so what if everyone gets a "today is an unscheduled trash day" directive, instead of a "get the f*** out of Dodge before pirates redecorate your home from orbit" directive?
Yeah, based on the fact that the town is currently getting bombarded, I don't think the droid could possibly misunderstand this order. You just used this line to make a shitty joke that nobody with more than 3 brain cells will laugh at.
Can I use your viewer?
Using a viewer to watch a hologram rather than pressing it to your forehead and opting for your far superior imagination to retrieve the message.
Pointing things out on the screen rather than shutting your mouth and learning how to make halfway decent videos again.
I'm gonna forward this to Coruscant. Request permission to intercede.
They haven't returned a dispatch in weeks.
And they posted me here for exclusively expositional purposes, just in case the bar's TV is showing pod racing instead of news position for once.
Wait, so it's a sin for a character to talk to another character so long as the conversation delivers exposition to us? Why? Do you want every single episode to not have any dialogue? What the hell?
Then I'm just gonna have to go there and talk to them myself. They can't ignore me face to face.
They can, but they likely won't, because we need to connect this episode back to that random one where the nice man got his brain spaghettified.
Later in this episode, we see the secretary try to turn this guy away and he blows past the Rhodian, so the thing he said about them not being able to ignore him face to face is technically true, seeing as how he forced himself into the room.
Using your metal pin to store your extra throat lozenges.
Using your YouTube channel to make terrible jokes that aren't funny.
I am humbly requesting the New Republic to send a...
I get the gist.
The internet seems to think that "get the gist" came from a French legal term used in the 1600s. Oh, always fun to find out that the internet's wrong and that this colloquialism actually has origins from an even longer time ago and from much farther away.
Hold on, this sin is really weird. Is he saying that the episode made a mistake by having a character say that he gets the gist of something? What? Why? Can you provide any sort of reasoning? And if you're going to try to defend this sin on the grounds of it somehow being a joke, it wasn't even remotely funny.
I'm going down to the commissary. Can I get you anything?
Like a warm serving of Imperial spy plotting to overthrow the New Republic? Or maybe a bagel? A bagel of betrayal? Officer Kane?
Skip.
How did you manage to find us?
Fortunately, someone I served with in the rebellion is amongst your ranks.
That's a weird way of saying, fortunately, you're all dumbasses and didn't think twice about keeping this Republic droid around.
Except they didn't know that it was a Republic droid? Why do you think that every single character should know everything immediately, even when they're not informed of stuff?
I gotta help the guy.
You can't do it alone.
Can't he, though? I mean, he's faced worse odds without the help of other Mandos. He managed to escape Moff Gideon and an army of stormtroopers with little more than Cara Dune, Greef Karga, Grogu, and an exploding droid. And look, Karga's already there, Grogu's with him, Bo-Katan is the new, less problematic Cara Dune, so all he really needs is a droid to blow up.
I mean, it's possible that he could do it with a small group, but it would still be a hell of a lot easier with all the Mandalorians, especially given the pirates' advantage with the cruiser and fighters.
Our children can feel what it is to play in the sunlight.
Before they're hidden from said sunlight by having their heads encased in helmets they aren't allowed to remove, of course.
Discount Jeremy still doesn't understand the concept of religion.
Does anyone else wish to speak?
I do.
I love how a community that's defined by its ability to follow a strict set of rules can't be trusted to not talk unless there's an appointed talking hammer situation at play.
Wait, but didn't you just mention the strict rules of Mandalorian culture? The talking hammer thing is one of those rules you just referred to. You essentially just said, this culture has a lot of rules, so that must mean it's a sin for them to have this rule.
Why should we lay our lives down yet again? Because we are Mandalorians. This is the way. This is the way.
This crowd has won over so easily they may have well been chanting, what do we want? Whatever the guy in front of us says we want.
Paz called their honor and culture into question. It makes sense that they would agree to this, because they're upholding their honor and culture. Also, that fake-ass laugh.
I'll use this to drop you in, and you will operate as a tight military unit.
Because I said so with such confidence, and that's worth 10,000 hours of training.
I mean, they do have a whole lot of training, so I don't really know what your point is.
You lived there once, hiding in the sewers. But now, you can be heroes.
Making the assumption that anyone would want to be a hero rather than revel in the life of a glorious sewer rat shredder style.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture reference that isn't a sin of the episode cliche.
I know pirates are going to pirate, but that was your buddy's food. Why waste snacks like that?
Because pirates got a pirate, like you just said?
Straight up murder.
Okay, is that it? Look, I know murder is wrong in the real world and all, but that doesn't make it a mistake for a TV show to have someone do it, and this is a heated firefight too.
Nice of these chaps to politely not shoot Paz as he descends from the sky in the middle of the fight and allow themselves to be mowed down for the sake of entertainment.
Aaron, how easy do you think it is to hit a descending target? And even if he had gotten hit, it's not like he would immediately die. He's got some pretty nice armor on.
This individual has a jetpack.
Yes, good observation, buddy. But did you seriously not also see that he was blasted off of the structure? Do you think that a person who just got blown off of a building by a laser explosion thingy and is flailing their arms around is going to be able to actively think of and use their jetpack? Come on, man.
Listen, I never want to put a stop to hammer time, truly, but at some point this has got to backfire. Either she'll get caught off guard by an opponent with a range greater than 5 feet who doesn't have the situational awareness of an unharvested potato, or she'll damage/lose what I can only assume is a one-of-a-kind set of Beskar smithing tools.
Okay, cool prediction, but how is a prediction of the future a sin of the current episode?
I know he doesn't have visible ears, but surely the Discount Gorn here has some sort of ability to detect sound or movement, right?
Yeah, I 100% agree with this sin. The fact that the Trandoshan didn't hear the melee fight happening right behind him was just ridiculous.
How have I just now noticed that this giant-ass spaceship is being steered by a f***ing wheel? I mean, cool, but also how does that even work?
The wheel is how you steer the ship? Is that not obvious to him? Oh wait, I forgot who we're talking about here. Also, that fake-ass laugh at the beginning of the sin.
Oh, so the Pirate King he's just gonna let himself die over Navarro? And this seems like a very peculiar hill to plant your Corsair in. Retreat was 100% an option here, and a great one when there's just one engine between you and an overly kinetic reintroduction to a Navarro mountain.
Right, but you're completely ignoring Gorian Shard's character. The episode clearly showed how arrogant he was, which is why he chose to stay even when they were down to only one engine.
Do you respect my station? I do. Remove your helmet.
This might be the dickiest of dick moves to ever move a dick. Of course Bo-Katan is going to think this is a trick.
Discount Jeremy says dick 3 times in one sin.
I was taught that the mythosaur existed only in legends.
Well, if that was true, then they would have called it the Legendosaur now, wouldn't they?
Oh, shit.
Violence is never the answer. It's a question. And in this case, the answer is FUCK YES!
Have you come back to join the mercenaries?
I've come to reclaim my fleet.
It's no longer your fleet.
Then I challenge you.
Oh yeah, give me the crown. I'm feeling limitless. I've been the king of this. I've been the GOAT. Putting it down. I'll be the infamous one who be killing shit. Who want to smoke? Fuck is you bow? I'm about the discipline. Gotta be vigilant. Move like a pro. Running my town. Bitch, I'm the illest man on a mission. I'm ready to blow. Give me the crown. I'm feeling limitless. I've been the king of this. I've been the GOAT. Putting it down. I'll be the infamous one who be killing shit. Who want to smoke? Fuck is you bow? I'm about the discipline. Gotta be vigilant. Move like a pro. Running my town. Bitch, I'm the illest man on a mission. I'm ready to blow. Blow.
In order for her to wield the Darksaber again, it must be won in battle.
Instead of simply sending the 1 minute and 50 seconds of previously awning for being 1 minute and 50 seconds of previously awning, I'd like to send it for being the most contextually spoilery previously awning we've seen to date. If this had included a sad droid, a Back to the Future trailer, and a Saxaboom rendition of About Damn Time, we wouldn't have needed to watch the episode at all.
Discount Jeremy makes 2 pop culture references that aren't sins of the episode cliche.
Sporting a fish in a champagne coupe instead of a flute, or the much more appropriate Bordeaux glass.
Making an unfunny joke instead of learning how to actually be funny.
Not giving us an explanation as to why the captain's the only one that gets a tank and the rest of these fish holes just have to be dry.
Because he's the captain, like you just said? Presumably the ship doesn't have the space for multiple tanks, and it's probably pretty expensive as well, so...
Can't destroy everything I've built for a childish fling.
Is that all this was to you?
That's not what I meant.
When did this become the CW's Mandalorian?
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture reference that isn't a sin of the episode cliche.
This is interesting.
Careful with your exuberant adjectives there, Mando. A 2-minute recap followed by 3 minutes of calamore does not an interesting episode make.
Discount Jeremy double dips cliche.
Proceed to your Hyperloop pod.
Disney bet hard on the monorail and lost, so now it's shifting gears so it can cash in on all the Hyperloop hype from 10 years ago.
And the sin is what exactly? Look, this episode is pretty bad. It shouldn't be difficult for you guys to sin it, and yet he's still pulling all of the same crap that he always does, at least so far.
Please do not attempt to leave the vehicle. This is not a request.
We're going to learn a lot about how much of a paradise this world is, but somehow no one's ever voted against the whiplash-inducing dramatic timing of these Hyperloops.
Because they're clearly not harmful. I mean, I love how you say this when nowhere in the episode do Mando or Bo-Katan get whiplash, so it's just a complete throwaway of a sin.
Come! Everyone, special guests! Mandalorians!
Listen, I love Lizzo and Jack Black, but whenever Star Wars does these type of cameos, it's like they're pulling the curtain back on the whole production to say, hey, look who it is! Takes me out of the story every time.
Yeah, I agree. This was weird and had an overall atmosphere of being very forced. It felt much more like a cheesy Marvel movie scene than a Star Wars scene.
Lazio suffered greatly under Imperial rule. My husband came here as part of his rehabilitation.
Okay, let me get this straight. Captain Jack here worked for the Empire and as a rehabilitation/penance was sent to a planet abused by said Empire where he managed to marry his way into the royal family and be an elected leader? How many war criminals do you know that were given their own fucking planet to rule?
He wasn't given this planet. You're using your words in a very deceptive way. He married his way into leadership, which helped him get elected. He wasn't given that leadership by the rehabilitation program.
Doesn't take kindly to strangers.
Saying this instead of, this baby might be able to kill you with its mind.
Seriously, I don't know what the point of this sin is. Was it meant to be a legitimate criticism? Cause if so, he didn't say anything of value, and if it was meant as a joke, he didn't say anything funny, so either way, it's sinful.
This series seems confused about what Grogu's supposed to be. Sometimes he's a baby, sometimes he's a Jedi, and other times he's just a puppy.
Nope, he's always more or less been all three. You just don't get that because you haven't been paying attention.
We held direct democratic elections for the first time in our history.
We are both royals and elected leaders.
Yeah, but earlier the automated thingy said,
Welcome to Pleasure 15, the Outer Rim's only remaining direct democracy.
And if you're electing representatives, then that's not a direct democracy. That's a representative democracy with direct democracy institutions.
This is actually another good sin. Damn, this video is turning out better than their average so far. Please don't fuck that up.
Actually, what does this have to do with us?
Katie Sackhoff's question to the writers about why the characters are even in this situation somehow makes it into the episode.
Although I agree, that still counts as a discount Jeremy double dips cliche.
The Mandalorian garrison outside your city walls can make quick work of your battle droids.
Our charter forbids any standing army from entering our city.
But somehow that same charter is totally fine with an Imperial cruiser, complete with shuttles, camping up just outside of the city on a f***ing technicality? What's to stop them from hiring more mercenaries and building an army that way? Sure, this keeps the citizens of Pleasure 15 safe, but it doesn't do much to prevent that pesky Imperial tendency to dominate the galaxy.
Welcome to politics, dude. Laws have loopholes that can be exploited if the wrong people choose to do so. Why are you expecting a government to be perfect?
People have voted we are a pluralistic society. You are Mandalorians. Weaponry and armor are intrinsic to your culture, are they not?
I don't think you're using pluralism in the way that you think you are. Yes, being pluralistic means that you're accepting of a variety of political and cultural ideologies and even incorporate them into your system of ruling. But you don't have to be pluralistic to allow visitors from other cultures. This is like bragging that you're an all-you-can-eat buffet and therefore the only type of restaurant that allows people to bring in their own food. It might be true, but it has nothing to do with the buffet. I also might be hungry.
His point was that their society is legally pluralistic, which by definition means that their society legally recognizes every culture. Because of this, Mandalorians would not have their weapons confiscated from them, which would happen to anyone of any other culture. You mentioned how you don't have to be pluralistic to accept other cultures, and that's true, but seeing as the Mandalorian culture has weapons at the center of it, which are illegal in this society otherwise, the distinction is actually important. Remember how I mentioned loopholes in the previous sin?
Also, I'm fine with exploiting loopholes, but this loophole applies just as much to Axe's Mandalorians as it does to Bo and Den here. I see no reason why you couldn't have asked them to clear the droid problem as Mandalorians in exchange for the defense contract.
Because Axe's Mandalorians are an army, whereas Bo and Mando are only two people? There's a big difference. Think of it this way. Axe's Mandalorians are an official mercenary group, which makes them by definition an army. Mando and Bo are simply two individuals not affiliated with an official army.
The mercenary captain, Axe Wolves, indicated that he split from you because you had designs on ruling Mandalore once again.
Why the f*** did that come up? Why would Axe be chatting about the life goals of his predecessor with a complete stranger that shouldn't give a shit?
Bo-Katan is pretty famous, so it's entirely possible that Lizzo already knew her and asked Axe about her. Regardless, simply asking a question does not necessitate a sin.
His plans have been abandoned.
The offer stands nonetheless.
Dude, she just said those plans have been abandoned. Why are you standing by this as an offer instead of cash?
Because she still wants Mandalore to be a sovereign state, regardless of who rules it? Why aren't you paying attention?
You had me at battle droids.
And you lost me at the Jerry Maguire reference.
Wait, how did Discount Jeremy know what I was about to say about him?
These droids were all reprogrammed to serve the community.
Great Scott! This is how we get Doc Brown in Star Wars? I mean, it's about damn time, but in a minute, I'm gonna need a explanation for the Mando cameos.
Yay, another pop culture reference. Also, Discount Jeremy tries to sing in a video cliche.
Why not turn them all off?
The citizens voted against any interruption in droid services.
Reminding me that we live in a world where I can't sin this vote for being unbelievable and stupid.
Admitting that the stupid vote is not a sin and then giving the episode a sin anyway.
We're engaged to hunt down and eliminate the malfunctioning droids.
There are no such droids.
These aren't the droids you're looking for in a Star Wars story, cliche.
That's not a cliche, my man.
Holy inevitable Skynet uprising, Batman. That is a lot of droids.
Discount Jeremy makes two pop culture references that aren't sins of the episode cliche.
There are a billion droids here, and of course, this works on the third one that he kicks.
Do you think the episode would have been more enjoyable if it had waited until the 172nd droid? Really, dude? The show is just saving us some time, that's all.
Mando ducks so that this box can kill the people behind him, instead of scratching his precious armor.
It's called instinct, Aaron. Do you really think someone who's in a chase is running through all the different potential outcomes in the mere seconds before the box makes contact with them?
Keep going!
All of the impossibly perfect, there's no way he could have predicted when the droid would pass by the window and perfectly self-defenestrate himself to victory bullshittery that we just witnessed in this stunt.
Agreed. Look, I've been letting a whole lot of decent sins pass by because I didn't want to waste time by addressing each one individually, but I'm going to remove 5 sins here. This episode felt like a really shitty acid trip and was just too strange to be enjoyable, and the TVSins writers have actually done a passable job at sinning it.
I don't think they get many of our kind here.
We got a sudden record stop, and now this line. Man, this show is hitting all the notes in its composition titled Entering a Bar Cliche.
Again, that's not a cliche.
Stay where I can see you.
Oh, come on, Mando. That's asking a lot when you're talking about a helmet that limits your field of view to about 12 degrees.
Was that supposed to be a joke or a legitimate criticism? Actually, it doesn't matter. Either way, it's a sin.
We don't want to be replaced. We still have a lot to contribute.
We get all of this world building and a fascinating sneak peek into the lives of this very specific group of droids on a planet we've never seen before, but when it comes to the Force, we get f***ing midichlorians. Great.
Sinning something that has nothing to do with the episode at hand? That's dumb.
It's Nepenthe.
I'm sure the droid will have the actual answer, but I'm willing to bet it's exactly whatever the plot needs it to be to make this side quest make sense.
Yes, Aaron. A fantasy series makes things up to drive the plot. How the hell is that a bad thing? Isn't that literally what every single fictional story is? A made-up event and or object that causes a story to happen?
So Nepenthe reprograms the droids that drink here?
It patches the programming as the commands of the mainframe change.
Let me get this straight. Organics created droids to do the work of organics because droids can be optimized and don't need downtime. But then those same organics created a social bar situation as a way to send software updates in the form of imbibements. Why? Why isn't this just downloaded?
Ah, and now we're getting to that classic TVSins deception. I knew they were going to revert back to lying at some point. The specific lie in this sin is that the organics created the bar situation and the process of imbibing Nepenthe. Later in the episode, in the lab tech sounds very surprised when they say that the bad batch of Nepenthe was brought into the planet by the security office. She even says that it's illegal. This clearly implies that the droids are the ones who get the Nepenthe and have created the whole bar situation autonomous of organics.
These are the remains of the latest malfunctioning droid.
On this episode of CSI The Outer Rim, droids need a coroner for some reason.
I love how he says all of this when they find out some very useful information about the droid because they brought it here. It's like he's complaining about the characters doing something smart and that thing paying off. Also, yet another pop culture reference.
Chain title says it didn't arrive on Plaisir through droid acquisitions.
Wait a second. It didn't go through droid aqua...
Hold on. I have no problem with you finding the scene boring, but this is the exact part of the scene that disproves that earlier sin, and you just blew right past it. TVSins is just like the Republican Party. Lie to your face and sweep all evidence that contradicts their views under the rug.
I trigger this failsafe, it will convert the planet's docile workforce back into battle droids.
More like a fail unsafe. Am I right?
Oh, shit.
Okay, let me get that for you, my lady.
Using living things as space bocce balls.
Pointing things out on the screen.
I also give to you both our highest honor, the key to Plaisir.
Do they always just have that thing on hand?
That fake-ass laugh.
While exploring Mandalore, I was captured, and this blade was taken from me. Bo-Katan rescued me and slayed my captor. She defeated the enemy that defeated me. Would this blade then not belong to her?
What the f*** were you saving this story for? You have the whole thing laid out with all the justifications and you were keeping that shit in your pocket? Bo could have just died fighting Axe body spray over there. What the f***, Mando?
Agreed. Yet again, I'm gonna remove 5 sins. Not only for this one sin, but for a bunch of other decent sins he's had before this one. This episode is just a complete mess, and I have no idea how anyone thought it was a good idea.
I believe this is the part where you return the dark saber to its rightful owner.
I'm back to mauling the game and keeping it merciless with bloody rounds. Y'all couldn't stop the flow with a tourniquet. They want some melodies from me, but I prefer to spit, cause every song I make's a hit record. It's like a nervous tick, but all this paper got me cold and emotionless. If you saw the bank, you think I made my dough flipping opiates. Went from broke to a mogul, known as the dopest of vocalists. So the only thing that y'all can do now is hope that it's over with. I've been a legend, never question my worth. At 15, knew this rapping shit was destined to work. Don't get it twisted when I pull up in a Chevy Traverse, cause I'm a semi-truck, bitch, I make a mess when I swerve. My trajectory is wealth and that's predictable as fuck. I'm in love with the paper plus addictions in my blood. I've never been the type to get convicted with some thugs. I'm the type that if you're trying to run a business, I'm the plug, ho.
Nearly everything about this establishing shot is awesome, but its blade runneth over.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture reference that isn't a sin of the episode cliche.
These probe droids are a notorious Empire staple, so how does one descending from the heavens not raise all of the Empire's up to some shady red flags? Or is this little critter permanently chilling out around here like an emergency break glass in case of exposition button?
The implication is very obviously that the probe droid is kept hidden. In this scene specifically, Kane makes sure that she's alone before speaking to Gideon. So your assumption that everyone knows about the probe droid is really dumb.
Am I supposed to be surprised that Moff Gideon turns up in the penultimate episode of The Mandalorian? Because this is exactly what happened in Season 1, and that brings us one occurrence away from it becoming a this is the Shay?
Regardless of how stupidly he says it, this is not a cliche.
And make it quick, as I am short on time.
People who waste conversational time by telling people that they're short on time.
People who waste everyone's time by pointing things out on the screen.
Why do the police sirens in this alien world in a different galaxy look and sound exactly the same as ours?
This is really just a detail for the audience more than anything else. Having them be the same as ours makes them an auditory cue for us.
Alright, for this room, I want to go with something minimalist, but also brooding. So, lots of concrete and fall hazards, of course. And instead of gaudy accents or wall decorations, just have two soldiers staring deeply into each other's eyes. You know what? I love that last one. Supposed to care about these tanks? Probably. Am I going to care about these tanks? No.
So you're sitting the show for you being obstinate? That's dumb.
The New Republic is vulnerable, but we must be cautious and show no sign of our true strength.
We now bring you to the expositional hologram argument already in progress.
How is this a sin? Seriously, he thinks that simply using the word exposition automatically makes anything a sin, but this is a case where it actually makes sense for exposition to be given. This is a war council. Did you want them not to give each other any information? What did you want, an argument about what superhero is the most powerful?
Grand Admiral Thrawn's return.
Did you hear that? That was the sound of a million geeks nerdgasming all at once.
Sinning Grand Admiral Thrawn in any way is worth this many sins.
Perhaps it's time we look to new leadership.
Project Necromancer is a place for that.
Project Necromancer.
That fake-ass laugh.
3 Praetorian Guards. Sounds like someone is concerned about an assassination attempt.
Yeah, but you are talking to a man that's just recently escaped arrest by the New Republic, has a feud with the most dangerous race of warriors in the galaxy, and whose 10-year career goals make Sauron's master plan look like a Dr. Seuss adventure.
Which is why they end up granting him the guards? Why are you sending the show for something it explicitly agrees with?
An Imperial shuttle is advancing over the city.
What? That is clearly not a shuttle.
First, that's a light cruiser.
That was a trap.
Wait, but you're sending it anyway? What the hell?
Look at the markings. See those, my friend, are Mandalorian privateers.
I thought to be a magistrate, you'd have to be at least familiar with the concept of lying. A few simple markings, and he's like, no problem, come on in. All it takes to get into his planet is a big-ass fake ID.
But he invited them. Why are you pretending that they arrived randomly? Oh, wait, it's because you wanted to stretch out this video as much as possible for as much ad revenue as possible.
Using your companion cube to steady your vacuum cleaner.
Pointing things out on the screen.
That's not the only gift I have for you.
That's a strange way to say I've created a wearable BattleBot for Grogu from the carcass of your friend.
What did you do to IG-11?
Oh, no, that's IG-12 now.
You can't expect to get away with removing features that people want and replacing them with shit they didn't ask for by just increasing the model number each year. Well, I mean, you can, but only if you don't mind being called an apple. I mean, an asshole.
Hold on, I appreciate the apple joke, so take a sin back. But at the same time, what the hell was this section of the video? I think the editors forgot to add a ding sound effect after the first sin, which made it seem like it was somehow connected to the second sin. This is just weirdly sloppy.
Well, He's too little to operate this.
Actually, he's the only size that can operate this thing. But the confusing bit has to do with the fact that Mando's opinion goes from "you're too little" to "follow me into battle" by the end of the episode.
I agree with the fact that Mando should never have brought Grogu to Mandalore, but his point here was that Grogu was too young and therefore wouldn't understand how to operate it. So you're missing his point, and that is a sin.
Maybe when he's older.
No.
What do you mean, no?
No.
That fake-ass laugh.
This isn't working for me.
Your apprentice puppeteering the husk of the planet's savior to steal fruit? I should hope so. And why are we being forced to watch this instead of what's going on with the two groups of Mandalorians that hate each other's guts?
Because characterization for the two main characters? Why is that an issue?
Mandalorians, it is time to retake our homeworld.
Is she gonna do a rousing halftime speech? I mean, it'll get a sin for being a cliche, but I do love me a good rousing halftime speech.
The remaining magnetic interference has made it impossible to scan the surface from above atmosphere, which is why I'm proposing that we leave Navarro and move the fleet into orbit above Mandalore.
False alarm. Just your standard exposition sin.
Again, you simply pointing out exposition doesn't necessitate a sin. This information is crucial to the Mandalorians, so it makes sense for her to be telling them.
Once everyone agrees to join the Journey to the Center of Mandalore expedition, we have just over 5 minutes of departing, transiting, arriving, sitting, falling, and ordering before anything vaguely new or interesting happens. Yes, the fleet and the ODSTing look cool, but could we have also had some conversational meat on the bone between these opposing factions?
You would have complained about it if that had happened. Besides, he mentioned how it all looks cool, so Discount Jeremy sends something he likes cliche.
We'll lose comms shortly.
And conveniently.
How is it convenient to lose communications with your fleet? That makes no sense. It's actually an inconvenience for them, seeing as how Axe needs to do a solo flight back to the fleet in order to deliver a singular message to them.
We'll survey the surface until we find the forge and create a safety zone.
Does this require you to subject us to more footage of Mandalorians getting their 10,000 steps in? Because you said...
Magnetic interference has made it impossible to scan the surface from above atmosphere.
And now we don't know what's preventing you from using your space plane to scan the surface from a lower altitude.
That's actually a good sin. Damn, take one back, boys.
After our forces were annihilated in the Night of 1,000 Tears.
This event isn't called the Night of 1,000 Retellings of How Many...
Skip?
Those of you who are well enough can join us in the search for the Great Forge.
We can do better than that. We can bring you there.
All right, finally some excitement. Hoist the topsails, batten down the hatches, and other boating terms. Let's go! Damn it!
Discount Jeremy has the attention span of a toddler with ADHD cliche.
This welcome break in the monotony of boat life is tainted by the confusing physics aboard this vessel that allowed Axe to be attacking from the port side in this shot, then starboard side in this shot, then back to the port side in this shot.
Yup, that's true.
You taught your apprentice well.
You didn't learn that from me.
This response to Grogu stopping the fight is super confusing coming from the person who a moment ago said,
Neither side can step in.
So is Grogu's lack of creed some sort of bureaucratic loophole, or did he just out himself as a spy?
Dude, Grogu is a baby. They're okay with it because they obviously realize that he doesn't understand the more complex dynamics between the tribes and he just doesn't want them to fight.
This ship has been returning to the fleet for the past 3 minutes, and that's important to us for reasons other than this discount interstellar shot?
Discount Jeremy makes an interstellar reference that isn't a sin of the episode cliche.
We're not far. We need to go further down.
Making us momentarily believe this might be a major setback, only to reveal that the creature just helped them get off at the right exit.
Discount Jeremy double dips cliche.
The momentary coolness of this idea quickly faded once I realized the big reveal of everyone having Mandalorian armor just makes this your typical same versus same matchup.
This is another one of those same versus same complaints that's just as stupid as all the other times they've used it. Seriously, why do you want one side of the battle to have a clear and decisive advantage over the other? That's what you're asking for here, and it's just dumb.
There's a split in the ceiling there. I'll lay down cover.
Now, I'm no Mandalorian, nor have I fought in anything scarier than a pillow fight, but I've seen this cliche enough to know that covering fire works by you laying down a ton of fire, which causes the enemy to hide and, in turn, provides a small window of time for your buddy to do what they need to do. This was mainly Axe watching Paz kill people.
Yeah, when you play the clip in extreme slow motion, it certainly makes it seem valid. Unfortunately for your argument, if you watch the scene at full speed, you'll realize that this sin is a lie.
Beskar-laden jump troopers suck a little less at shooting than the normal ones. It's as if Star Wars is trying to blame stormtrooper aim on the fact that their helmets didn't have the split down the front, a feature that I thought was only there for increased visibility during urination.
Discount Jeremy makes a cringy pee joke that isn't funny cliche.
This individual appears to have been committed to walking backwards off of this ledge before they were even shot.
Because they saw the jump troopers advancing on them? Dude, just watch the scene.
Hey kid, you gotta keep up.
But why is he even here though? No other Mandalorians brought foundlings on this field trip?
Although I agree, Discount Jeremy double dips cliche.
Moff Gideon makes his sexy boy WrestleMania entrance, and I believe we're supposed to be impressed that they've added rockets to a Darth Vader.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture reference that isn't a sin of the episode cliche.
And the most impressive improvement is that it has me in it.
Saying this instead of showing us an actual upgrade.
He is showing off the upgrades though. Why aren't you watching the scene? He said that the main upgrades were the Beskar and himself, both of which are clearly visible in this scene.
Got to Grogu just in time to remember Mando's bad parenting and acknowledge that he came all the way down here in a mech suit to do absolutely nothing.
Discount Jeremy triple dips cliche.
Also, I guess no adventure would be complete without the needless sacrifice of a fairly well-liked ancillary character. This one feels especially needless considering everyone's already escaped, and if the jump troopers want to pursue, they'd have to pass through a nasty bottleneck. Look, if you've got a martyr boner, then just say so, but don't make it out like this was your only option.
Discount Jeremy says boner.
The Praetorian Guards show up just after the battle to make sure that no one ever finds out how wrong Paz was about the number of jump troopers.
Discount Jeremy double dips cliche.
The boy who lived, come to die.
It's in the bloodline, cause we the ones. Spend enough time on the run. I see the sunshine, I make it rain. And I just keep on roaming till it's done. Yeah, I just get the title, I pull up like a champ. Feeling sorta tribal, put an end to your camp. If they wanna try me, draw a line in the sand. Winning every time, I guess I'm winning again. We the ones, we the ones, we the ones. Throw 'em out the ring and we just do it for fun. Smacking down opponents and I get what I want. Call me undisputed, all the ropes and it's done.
The capital ship is a decoy. We can't beat them in the air. We have to beat them on the ground.
After Paz's overestimation of the number of Imperial troops in the last episode, I don't trust Mandalorian math anymore. It seems like X always equals murder everyone and everything.
Okay, Paz was wrong in the last episode, but Bo-Katan is absolutely right here. Are you applying something about one character to every character of his nationality? That's racist.
You know what would have saved the Imperials from having to deal with all of this? If they just killed Mando when they had him dead to rights in the previous episode.
Yup, I totally agree with this. There was absolutely no reason to take Mando alive. There's a bunch of stuff in this season especially that just doesn't make any sense.
No.
Grogu Bottica Ex Machina.
Discount Jeremy still doesn't know what a Deus Ex Machina means.
Also, Grogu was with the other Mandalorians during their escape in the last episode. Did they just lose him and not bring it up or show concern in any way whatsoever?
The implication is that Grogu was able to slip away during the confusion of their escape, which actually does make sense.
Not giving us a functional reason why these TIE interceptors have to be stored in a way that requires the pilot to do an immediate 90-degree turn upon takeoff.
Just because the show doesn't outright explain it to us doesn't mean there isn't a purpose for it. The reason to store TIE interceptors like this is because they're short-range vehicles. The Empire specifically uses fighters without long-range capabilities or life support because that could result in pilots defecting and taking the ships with them. This way, pilots have to return to wherever the fighters are stored.
Let's talk about these helmets. They have no locking ring to connect the suit, but they still make some kind of pressurization sound when people put them on. Is it suctioning to their faces? Is it applying moisturizer? Why is sound?
It's presumably creating a pressurized barrier between the rim of the helmet and the suit itself, which is why people can go into space in these suits.
R5. Come in, R5.
Last we saw, R5 made a hard left getting off the gauntlet when they first arrived. I thought maybe they went to take a piss and then got back on the ship. But now we see that Mando just had R5 roaming the barren wasteland of Mandalore all on their own, just so there'd be a super convenient droid to provide maps and unlock doors and the such. And somehow, that worked.
Maybe Mando left R5 behind so that he could have someone in a safe location who could help if he needed it. I don't get why you think Mando couldn't possibly have thought about this ahead of time. Obviously, he didn't know that the Empire was here specifically, but he could have just had R5 as a backup in general.
You're gonna have to scomp into the base.
I just had to look up scomp, and I still don't know what it is or means. So this is a sin for my poor research skills.
Sinning yourself when you're supposed to be sinning a show? That's dumb.
Droids always sticking their phallic metallics in unfamiliar ionic electronics. And I'm fairly certain they never have consent.
Family Guy did it better.
Let me see if I can do something about that. Hey, baby, you gonna let us through, ain't you? Ooh, yeah, that's right. You know that feels good.
Oh, God. Nobody's touched me like that for so long. Oh, no. I think I hear my husband.
Honey, I'm home. What the hell is this? Who's he?
Oh, thank God you're home, honey. He tried to rape me.
Oh, that's bullshit. You...
Got it. Good job, buddy.
Oh, hey, Mando. What happened to...
Sorry, I don't speak binary.
I don't speak it either, but it really felt like you understood exactly what was being said there.
But the show never tells us that he understood those beeps. He says that he got it in reference to the schematics. Why are you randomly assuming that he understood that?
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
How did the Imperial ships not run into the Mandalorians' dropships? They literally went down and came out of the same cloud.
Yup, you're right again. This made no sense. The episode sacrificed its logic for a cool shot.
Pointing all your guns skyward when you're being attacked from below.
Because the ships flew up above the cruiser? Why wouldn't he point them up? Do you think he's just aiming at dark matter in space?
In this shot, R5 does not have his third appendage down, but in the next shot, it does. R5 really needs to have better control of his appendages.
Yes, Aaron, because he put it down in order to move. What's the issue with that? I appreciate the fact that you're trying to catch continuity errors, which is much more interesting than what you normally do, but you're not doing a very good job of it.
Mando requests the next shield before he is properly dispatched to this gentleman to create tension surrounding R5's interaction with the repair droid. He's yelling at R5 to open the shield as if his life depends on it, but in actuality, he has to deal with this trooper first before he's even ready to move on to the next set.
Mando knows he's close to being done with the stormtrooper he's currently fighting, so he's calling for the next shield to be lifted so that he can quickly transition to the next two stormtroopers as soon as his current one is dead. It's all about speed in this situation.
Let's not get in. Those are his clones.
Which is great, because there's nothing Star Wars fans love more than an Attack of the Clones.
Discount Jeremy makes an Attack of the Clones reference that isn't a sin of the episode cliche.
Mando does a bunch of button mashing and the tanks just explode? Why is the water explosive and how is that even an option?
Yet again, I agree with this. For some reason, whoever designed the cloning tanks made an option to have the water blow up? What? How does that make any sense?
We've taken refuge in these surface caves since the Purge.
Now I want a Purge movie set in a galaxy far, far away, and I'm sad because I know that will never happen.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture reference that isn't a sin of the episode cliche.
Blame the Empire, but I think these assholes that can't go 5 minutes without using a jetpack are the ones responsible for scorching all of the plant life on Mandalore.
Pointless throwaway sin for the purpose of extending the video's runtime is pointless.
This inverted infantry charge is all of the cool, but the Mandalorians advancing really seems like a threat easily handled by a couple of TIE interceptors. And we just so happen to see 2 of those bad boys just hanging around right here.
The Mandalorians are coming in through the split in the ceiling, which is a pretty narrow entryway. Sending the TIE interceptors at them would be a complete waste because they wouldn't be able to go full speed and would be easy targets for the Mandalorians to pick off. Discount Jeremy would be a terrible tactician.
I was isolating the potential to wield the Force.
Writers sure are dancing around just saying midichlorian.
TVSins has historically hated the mention of midichlorians, but when this show doesn't mention them, they still hate it. There's no winning, which makes these videos pointless and stupid.
Also, it's amazing how content everyone is with punching people in a helmet. It doesn't make sense in football, and it doesn't make sense here.
Just because you have a helmet on doesn't mean a head punch would be completely ineffective. The helmet would protect your head from any serious damage, but the sheer impact could still lay you out, or even disorient you, depending on how much power you have behind the punch.
I think they only sent 3 Praetorian guards. Any more would have really f***ed up this entrance.
Discount Jeremy sends a cool entrance for being cool.
No.
The wild thing here is that Grogu uses the no button instead of the Force, and they still decide to not run Mando through before giving chase. Or they saw a baby and a robot and decided that was the bigger threat, which I agree with, actually.
Discount Jeremy sends something he agrees with cliche.
Guards' inability to defeat a child, even a Force-capable child, undermines the threat they pose, making this almost comedic while at the same time undermining how hard Paz fought against them before he lost.
Yup, you're absolutely correct yet again. Damn, this video isn't as shitty as they normally are.
Grofu is an awful lot like Yoda-fu. Seriously, is this episode trying to rectify Attack of the Clones? Because I assure you, Star Wars, that can't be done.
Yeah, Attack of the Clones will never be redeemed, but this episode has nothing to do with it, so it's stupid that you keep bringing it up.
I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
I've got this. Go save your kid.
Bo has been nowhere near this fight, but somehow knows Grogu is in trouble.
She was flying around in the airspace above the platform. It's entirely plausible that she could have seen the Praetorian guards chase Grogu inside.
Good kid.
Except for that whole wait until the last second to use the Force thing, but otherwise, good job.
Grogu is still a baby who clearly isn't a top-notch warrior yet, my guy. Why you're expecting him to be a total badass at his age is beyond me.
Episode kills the cool saber.
Yeah, this right here was infuriating. If you're gonna destroy the single coolest lightsaber in the Star Wars universe, at least do it in a good season and in a way that actually pays off. This shit was fucking whack.
Mandalorians are weak once they lose their trinkets.
I mean, except for the Beskar armor and the elite fighting skills, but yeah, weak, I guess.
The Beskar armor is one of their trinkets, so this sin is for you blatantly misunderstanding what Gideon said.
Sorry, I have to ask this once again, but why the Force isn't forcing Grogu using the forcing Force the whole forcing time?
Because it takes a lot of energy out of him? Are you still ignoring the fact that he's a baby?
The words of the creed shall be forever forged in my heart.
Are the words with arms wide open?
Skip.
The Mandalorian 2, The Way of Water.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture reference that isn't a sin of the episode cliche.
Bo-Katan will now light the Olympic flame, and everyone will chant as if victory has been won. But defeating a common enemy will only get you so far. Eventually your differences will creep back in, and Axe will get upset at a board game again.
Okay, but they still won back their home planet, which is a pretty big win. That's like saying the Russians and Americans will eventually get pissy at each other again, so they shouldn't celebrate after winning Earth back from the alien race that invaded it. Sure, we still have our differences, but we took back our entire planet, goddammit.
I am here to serve and protect the citizenry.
It's very nice that they brought IG-11 back, even though most of, if not all of, the important parts have been replaced. At this point, he's essentially the droid of Theseus, and I'm not sure if he's enough boat to protect Navarro from an army of pirates.
Discount Jeremy makes a Theseus reference that isn't a sin of the episode cliche.
Also, this ending is so Forrest Gump that I'm surprised the frog didn't float away on the wind.
Yet another pop culture reference.
So I'm a strong believer that when you're starting out in anything, you should forget about quality and you should instead focus on quantity.